Yo, it is your boy Chop It Up with Jae Swift, man, and this is the Chop It Up podcast, man. Look, man, this is gonna be the hottest podcast in town, man. Y'all guys gotta make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, man, because man, I'm having actors, rappers, entrepreneurs, young bosses, people that's just trying to come up here and get the word spread. Also tap into the IG, man. All the latest news, all the latest content's gonna be coming up on there too. So y'all make sure y'all turn y'all notifications on. I gotta turn them notifications on too, man, because I'm telling you, it's gonna be some dope content coming in, and y'all guys don't want to miss it, man. And this is the Chop It Up podcast, man. We out. Yo, it is your boy Chop It Up with Jae Swift, man. And I am here today with my guy, Chief Dragon. How you doing today?
Man, I'm so good. Man, it's good to be on your show, brother.
Man,
it's always a blessing.
Man, too dope, man. Dope, man. Well, man, brother, like it's your first time on my platform, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. You're looking fresh, looking smooth. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think you by far the freshest guy that came on my platform.
Man, appreciate it, man.
Nah, that's dope, brother. So, this is your first time on my platform, so I just want to kind of get it from where you kind of started from. So, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Rockford, Illinois.
Okay.
By way of Chicago, a lot of my relatives live in Chicago, so I'm all affiliated from Chicago to Rockford, Illinois, and everything in between.
How was it growing up out there in Chicago?
Man, just growing up in Rockford is rough, and Chicago. So it's kind of, Rockford is like little Chicago, and when you go into Chicago, it's just a little rougher, but it's the same experience.
Was it more of like, is that part of town, is it more like a smaller part of town, or is it a pretty far, big town? Big town?
Well, yeah, kind of, smaller. It's just a suburb in Illinois. But, most of the people would go to Chicago, because like back in the day, they had Jewtown.
Okay.
You can go buy, clothes and stuff like that for the low, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I have a lot of relatives that live in Chicago as well. So visiting was really easy, Yeah.
So, what are some of the childhood memories, coming up in Chicago at the time, man? Just, not Chicago, I mean, just in Illinois in general. Like, just what is some of your favorite childhood memories, man? At the time?
Man, life is rough no matter where you go. Mm-hmm. You got to imagine, coming up in the 70s, 80s, that era was a rough era. 90s, it's just a rough era. So everybody kind of had their problems in the minority community. That's just what that was. You got your good days, you got your bad days. I'm a street dude. So like I was martial arts, Taekwondo champion. So I'm known for fighting, you know what I mean? And those were some of the experiences I had that was good. 5th degree black belt, Taekwondo. A lot of good friends, a lot of good times, back then in the days.
So like, you coming from the streets and getting into, martial arts and stuff, you don't really hear much of that because people do come from those environments, right? And they don't think about going to martial arts and doing some of those things. So how you coming from a street background, actually, how were you able to look into wanting to do martial arts?
Well, you see, I was younger when I actually started Taekwondo.
Okay.
But it helped hone me into a lot of discipline. So like Jae Swift, if you see some of the things I'm doing with my life now, it came from something. It came from that discipline in the martial arts. You gotta understand, Taekwondo and martial arts back then is different from now. Now you can buy a black belt in 1st degree. You can buy all that stuff now. Back then you had to really know. You had to know the Korean language, the philosophy. It's what's more important then. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, just give you an example. Counting in Korean. Hana, du, set, net, dasip, yasip, ilgo, aho, yudo, yo. Oran ninja so Paul Mark Debbie Maki. Rado stands for I'm guarding block. Upchapu Siggy from Snapkick. I still know the language. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy.
So do you? So like, let's say like just being able to learn martial arts. Were you one of the people like growing up that you got into a lot of fights and people just didn't really want to mess with you because you knew martial arts and stuff like that?
I competed in a lot of tournaments.
Okay.
A lot of tournaments. Mm-hmm. A lot of people didn't want to fight me because they knew I was really good.
Okay.
Beat up all my sister's boyfriends. It is what it is. So a lot of people respected that. They knew I was honed in, skilled. Mm-hmm. To this day, I'm skilled. You don't just have skill and lose it. Everything you about, you're gonna be about it to the end of your days. Period. You don't lose it. The same discipline, what you have to do, you have to take the same discipline and energy and apply it to everything you do. So the same discipline that it developed me to be a great fighter, I take that same energy, Swift, and put into everything I do. Everything. It's the same energy. You just turn it into something else. That's it.
So, just want to kind of get back on it. As far as, just coming from your situation, like, what was some of the challenges that, in your childhood that you possibly were thinking that was more of a challenge just coming up at the time?
A lot of things. Mm-hmm. Parents thought different, and I'm going to speak on it. A lot back then, it was a lot of abuses from parents. So my parents were really strict. It was a lot, they just were strict.
Yeah.
And it would be abuse, getting whoopings, stenching cords. This is what it was. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, did that make me stronger? I'd tell you absolutely not. But that was the system they understood because you got to understand, they come from the cuff of slavery. That's all they understood. And I don't know who need to hear it, but they need to keep it real. You can come from a struggle. The biggest thing you say, if you ask me, what changes that? Is forgivingness. You have to forgive the people who wronged you in order for you to get yourself right to build for you. So forgiveness would be the key. No matter what you are going through, you have to forgive. And forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. Because if you don't forgive them, then they're going to hold you hostage in your head.
So what do you think now? Because, it's a new day and age. The generation is different. Like, you coming from those days as far as how discipline was now, do you think, can you kind of just brief me on what do you think about the generation these days as far as how these kids are coming from? Basically, if you think about it, they still come from the same background you came from or however the struggle or whichever like that, right? But what do you think about this new day and age of the generation of kids? Do you think as far as parenting is a lot more different than what it was back then for these kids these days?
I think these days, babies are having babies. And when you're a young parent, you still want to get out there. Think about it. You got Facebook. The technology has changed our community. So the mama and daddy and them want to see who can be the youngest on Facebook and Instagram, right? So it's like, where's your place? If the parents' place is with the kids, then it's a hard shot. When you're competing with your own kids, I watch it every day, on Facebook. Why are you a parent competing with your own child? Women getting their body fixed to look younger than a child and say, oh, I look younger than my son, or, I look younger than my daughter. You know what I mean? It's like they're competing over nothing.
But do you think now, as far as the kids that are growing up, from what I was thinking, most, back then, there was more single parent homes, right? I mean, there was more parent homes where there was a mother and a father at a home than what it is now today, right? where you have more like as far as single mothers, you know, especially taking care of boy's child, you know, and do you see more of? I kind of see more of that, right?
Yeah, it is that. But you know, of course, you and I know that that was a design. But I think that even a single parent, whether it's the father raising the children or the mother, I think that we can resolve a lot of issues based on nurturing. I think the nurturing of an individual makes a big difference. And I say that because I've mentored college students, high school students. And as a mentor, I'm telling you, they've missed the nurturing process. So like you might say, oh, you know, I want my kid to be a lawyer, but they don't want to be a lawyer, but you don't want to hear that. But I'm listening to them. So I'm nurturing them to be an entrepreneur. You follow what I'm saying?
True. And do you think, like, as far as, I would say, and this could possibly be your opinion, do you think a child growing up in a two-parent home has more chance of, understanding and actually, let's just say the percentage, and this is possibly just be your opinion, right? Do you think a child coming from a two-parent home are better disciplined than a child coming from a one-parent home?
I can tell you factually, absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not. Well, you know, I shared a jail cell with a guy from a single home, and I had a mother and a father. I had more time than he had. Explain that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your choice. You make your own choices. And that's the key thing about life is your choices. I made bad choices, and we all do, but that's not the end. You know, say, hey, this is wrong, let me fix it. You know, it's a feather. You see that feather? That's an ostrich feather. So that reminds me that when come judgment, I have to make sure that my heart is lighter than an ostrich feather.
But also, don't you think, like, as far as how, the younger generation is these days, how would you be able to approach a kid he's coming from the struggle. All he knows is the streets, right? Do you think it's more of like just being on them, you know what I mean? And but basically, or is it more like as far as, just mostly just giving them more of advice? Because the reason why I ask you that is because you do have a lot of kids, these days, it's sad to say, but they don't have no OGs anymore, people that be able to like fall in line and tell them like, look, this is not what you're supposed to do, because you got the OGs too busy trying to be with them. So there's not really so much now that you have where people want to come look up to their OGs anymore. These kids, they doing everything on themselves because you got these OGs calling these kids big homie. You get what I'm trying to say? And the way it kind of gets kind of crazy because you have to lead by example, right? So do you also believe, like, as far as even the older generation, you know what I mean? They're not being able to lead the steps for these kids that actually pay attention and actually follow.
But Swift, I do what you do. Mm-hmm. You go in the community to help the people that want to be helped. Can't help everybody. And Swift, I watch you. I watch how you move. I watch how you give back to the community. What you giving back, the person has to receive it in order to get it. If they're not willing to receive it, how can they get it? So when I meet young people and I try to guide them to a certain way, or even like you do, you see quality in people and you want to help them, I watch you do it. You've helped a lot of people because you've seen the quality in them. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I know I can't help everybody. Let me see what quality this person may have. So I've met people, I'm like, hey, got a pretty good voice. Would you like to be a voiceover for my cartoon animated series? You follow me? Because they don't know that they have a certain attribute that could help. You follow me? So what you do, same thing you guys are doing at Jae Swift, y'all finding good quality people and you're giving them opportunities for the ones who want to take advantage of the opportunity. That's why I'm here today. You gave me an opportunity. You gave me a platform for Dragon's Golden Chips. And I am grateful for that. So we can't help everybody. All the young people are not bad people. There are some young people, like you've been helping in the community or the hood, quote unquote. You can only help people who's looking for help. And I'm not saying throw everybody else to the wayside, because that wouldn't be proper. I'm saying help who you can help, and somebody else may be able to help them on another level. We both know the act of life is about maturity. I'm still maturing just like yourself. I'm not perfect because I may be older than some youngsters. I need to get to a level of maturity where I can communicate with some of them knuckleheads you talking about. I'm maturing every day. I'm reading, reading is fundamental. Studying to how I can communicate with some of the knuckleheads in the community to get them excited about doing something. You follow me?
Sure.
We got to get them excited about doing something that we see that they may be good at. Prime example, I met a guy, great rapper. He can actually rap better than Tupac. But he liked to break in houses. He in prison right now. But that's because that was his choice. He just always made bad choices. We all do, But we have to grow out of that. We have to mature. We have to find what is in us that's going to make us change. Something is in us to allow us to be able to change if we want to change. I can't make you change. You can't make me change. I have to mature into that. And when we're talking about the new youth, they have to be mature. Just like you can't put yourself up against a 16-year-old. It's a losing battle. They haven't matured to your level. You're a grown man. You're talking about, adolescents. Now you got 20, 30-year-old cats acting like 16-year-olds. Poor education. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We don't not just talking about the hood or young people who are not pliable. Let's talk about the education system which not educating them. Hey, and remember, we have two educations. Get a valued education and a state-mandated education. Never forget that. A valued education is an education that you can cash out, because that's what value is. Value is the ability to cash, right? Cash out. State-mandated education is, well, we don't understand Black and Latinos. We don't understand their history. We can't teach them. So now you have a vast majority of Black and Latinos dropping out of school because they're really educated, but they learn differently. So an educated system has to work where we're working with different classes and racial divisions of people to be able to educate them on their level. My children learn by watching. That's how they learn, is by hands-on. Some kids learn by book. So I remember how they learn, because I'm their parent. I remember how they learn. So I got to make sure, hey, this is how they learn. So I have to stay focused on how they learn it. You agree?
Most definitely. And, some of the things that I also kind of notice as well, right? And it kind of gets me as well. Like, what can we do as people these days to be able to encourage the youth? Because, sometimes too, I know we tend to always, I always care. It's like, oh man, these kids, they crash dummies or whichever like that, right? Like, and it always comes from our culture, right? and we always tend to tear these kids down or whichever like that because of bad decisions, not because they were bad people, because of bad choices, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so much of, if you see somebody doing something, these kids doing something, it's not more of a coachable thing anymore. It just let them just do their thing. So we as like let's say just as far as the people that more wisdom, let's not even say age, let's not even say wage, but just people that, that been through and, been through so much and experienced so much and have more of a different mindset.
More to give.
Yeah. Why don't we see a lot more of that coming from our culture?
Good question, Swift. Let me say this. And I know it's hard to speak for other people because, again, those are their choices. My choice was to do potato chips. I wanted to do something to encourage everyone, not just Black people, that you can change and become who you want to be by your choice. So that's why I created Dragon's Golden Chips. Who can imagine somebody just out of the hood making chips? Come on. You're not even thinking on that level. But I want to encourage people to think differently. Even look at Dragon's Golden Chips, where we think outside the box and inside the bag. Inside the bag is a prize. So I even got the old schoolers who was buying Cracker Jacks with a prize inside. Tell me that ain't influence, right? Now I'm giving it to a new group of people in a bag of potato chips. That nasty popcorn back in the day. That popcorn was,
yeah.
But we wanted the prize. And then I put a positive message on the back of the bag. Because guess what, Swift? Like you said, how can I encourage people? I put it on the bag. So they can read the back of the bag. This bag says leadership. Now I explain leadership right here. What is leadership about? So by even purchasing my product, which is a great product, no GMOs, gluten-free, no sugar. I got a product here. You can line my nutrition facts up with anything Frito-Lay. And I ain't dissing Frito-Lay, but you can line my nutrition facts up with them and they can't touch me. Because I've created something to influence people to be better, to even have a healthier choice. Not just read something that's positive, but make a better choice for their health. That's what I'm about. I'm changing the world. Just like you said, what can I do? Hey, man, everybody got to do their part. You agree?
Yes.
I'm doing my part. You're doing your part. Again, like, how you go into the community and you donating to the community, to the schools with the kids. Me and you on the same page. We know we can't change the whole world. We do what we can.
Yeah. And
we're hoping other people will see how we move and they'll catch on as well.
So let's try to get to the point where it's like, as far as, we want to kind of get into the chips because this got really interested to me. It is crazy and is amazing to me to see, someone come from a minority, right, and decide to actually do their own chips. But the most interesting thing about it is the fact that you are actually coming up with the ingredients and you was actually doing these chips. You get what I'm trying to say? And the thing is that you do have a lot of people that, that can do the same thing you're doing it, but they're either using other companies to make the chips for them.
Called co-packing.
Yeah, pretty much co-packing. So why you decided not to go that route and you just said, you know what, I want to be able to, do everything as far as anywhere from starting from the ingredients to basically packaging it yourself and doing that. What encouraged you to do that instead of doing it the other route where everybody's doing?
I met a guy who knew a guy that actually owns Rap Snacks. So Rap Snacks is owned by James Lindsay. I had an opportunity to talk with James on the phone about, doing a partnership, and it didn't go so well. But once I understood that he was co-packing in Florida, okay, so the co-packing company's getting paid, James is getting paid, and I'm getting paid last. I ain't having it. I'm a street dude. I understand packaging. So, I'm not perfect. I was out there, slanging. I understand chemistry. I'm a chef as well as a chief. So I was able to take the chemistry. It takes chemistry to make chips. So just so you understand, you cannot make a potato chip with a potato in a store. The type of potato that makes potato chips you can only get from a produce company. It's a selected chip. It's a selected potato. Then you gotta use chemicals to strip the potato chips after they've been cut to fry them, or you'll destroy your grease. Once you strip the chip with chemicals, you can never burn the chip. It can sit in grease and never burn. Indeed, facts. But every chip has the closest relative to a chip is an apple. An apple's grown above ground, a potato's grown underground. A potato has not only sugar, but it has starch in it. So you have to strip the sugar and starch before you fry it. That's why my potato chips look so beautiful. Other companies that does potato chips spray sugar on the chips and other chemicals, which makes people sick. That's not a part of my process. So I got a more healthier choice with the chip. But a prize inside is something that parents can give to their children for doing great things at school or at home. It's a delicious snack, 0 sugar, so they won't have to complain their kids got a lot of sugar, running around the house tearing stuff up. You follow me? You gotta say, I'm a father. So by me being a father, I wanted something special, not just for my children, for all children. And these chips right here are just totally awesome if you think about it. So I wanted to give a little homage to the military because freedom ain't free. So I designed a little animated characters, which goes with my animated series, Dragons Ninja Clan. So I'm currently working on a cartoon animated series. I do have a game, video game on Steam, Dragon Ninja Clan Sword of Destiny. I know it's long, y'all, but it's okay. You can log on to my website, www.4dnckids.com. That's www.4 numerical, dnckids.com, and you'll be able to download the game. It's a PC game. I have to give a lot of respect to Richland College. Richland College put $1.8 million in sweat equity with over 70 students building the game. So, and I did a lot of work with that, with the special music that goes with the animated game. But we are currently working on an animated series for kids around the world that's positive, educational, and motivational.
So basically, my thing is, right, like as far as some of the things that you have been through, what were some of the challenges actually making these chips?
Oh, man, you wouldn't believe it. I ordered a machine, and you got to understand, I'm still doing the same, I'm still doing the same chemistry you would do in the street because I still got to use a triple beam. You feel me? I'm still using the triple beam because I have to make sure that I got the right seasoning amount in the bag of chips so that I can relay that to the nutrition facts so they'll know how much is in it to give me facts on what it relates to health-wise. So they're 3-ounce bags. So you have to understand it. You have to weigh out 3 ounces per bag. Same thing you're doing in the street. Street cats know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm doing multiple different flavors. I got 5 flavors right now. That's sour cream and onion, extra cheesy, Himalayan salt, Purple dust was purple sweet potato powder, and I got sweet and spicy barbecue. And when I tell you they delicious, man, out of this world. And again, staying on track with the idea why I did it myself is because through a co-packer, you must have so many packages of chips to sell to a grocery store or to any store in order for them to pick you up as co-packing. So I created and developed my own seasoning and my own chemistry to do chips.
Okay. So like as far as in the chips, right? Because like it's like you actually making the chips and so forth. Do you think what was some of the I mean we already went through the challenges already, right? As far as like how you thought about making the chips and so forth. Like kind of run it back because I know you have these toys in there and you kind of really make it where it's catered to children, right? And they're really good chips. I ain't gonna lie to you because man, I ain't gonna lie. Like you got, like I was surprised. When you see when you see it, when I first saw it, I was like, nah, man. This is another guy just kind of showing me chips. But then when I taste the chips, I was like, whoa. These are some good tasting chips. So it's like, some of those things, and it's kind of good that you push on health on that too, because like so many diseases out here like that, especially coming from our culture, like high blood pressure, diabetes and some of those things. And like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, normally when you get a chip, you just feel the grease on your hand when you eat it. And when I had these chips, I was like, man, like they just taste clean.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I gotta commend you on that because
appreciate it.
Just
respect.
Like you basically actually pushing health as well,
Indeed.
And I'm definitely looking forward to some of the things that you're actually doing because like that is something big. And I think as minorities, and we tend to do that, people should be pushing. Our culture should be pushing for someone like you. Like we should be able to own our own chips. We should be able to own our own banks. We should be able to do a lot of these things that, for our culture, and, those, when I see people like you doing this, I really commend them, and even with our platform, we push to getting people like entrepreneurs and stuff and, people like you, because those are some of the, y'all guys are here to last, and, doing stuff like this, man, I really commend you like that because like there was somebody like you that come from the same background you came from and he didn't go far to where you went to. And he could come back and look at this interview and be like, man, there's a way I can be able to do things like this, So I just want to kind of commend you on that and just kind of just keep, I support you all the way with this because.
But Swift, think about it like this. I'm a mentor. Anyone you may know that may need my help with science, mathematics, send them my way. I can help them. And any idea, I am divine. I am divine, not because I'm asking you whether you approve it. It's a matter of fact. How do you become divine? You're manifesting things in front of people. Some people don't even give you credit for that. I can do anything. Swift, and like, I know you're talking about me, but ain't nobody said nothing about your clothing line. That Swift clothing line you coming out with. You follow me? That should be commended and supported. So, whenever you come out with that, I'm all in, just like you've been supporting me. That's how we do it. Indeed, right?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Nah, that's dope, man. And, man, I just want to kind of take it back a little bit, because I think some of these people do want to hear. Like.
But before you say that, let's talk about, those fights. I had to fight to get the potato. Let's talk about that. I had to fight to get the potato.
Okay.
To actually make my chips. Fight to get them. Like, it's
Tell
still
me how that went. Tell me how that went.
It's still, the difference in your color make a difference how people respect you in the game. So I had to prove I make potato chips in order to get the potato to make the chips. Now, I'll say this and I'll be clear with everybody. No one is independent on the planet. We all need somebody in order to exist in business or a service. I'm not independent. And I'm also seeking partners. There's nothing independent about me. I rely on the produce company to get the chips to get the potatoes who they get them from, for me to buy them from them. I rely on the bag company to make my bags. You follow what I'm saying? There's nothing independent about me. I am social. I'm socially active with everyone around me. No one is no more than 10 to 15 minutes away from me to make any product I want done in any community you go in, to be able to do what's necessary to make you successful. If you're making t-shirts, think about it. Just do the math. You know, I read an article, Swift, and I know you're going to get into your clothing line, and I want you to understand this. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all the great companies, what they stand on is you would never see two of the same products in one event, no matter where you go. That's why they shirts and products $200,000 and $300,000. Because what they're saying is we honor and we respect our brand to the point we don't care who. If you don't buy our products, you're not our customer. You follow me? If you don't buy our products, you're not our customer. Our customer wants something that, I'm coming out with my own clothing line, Dragon style clothing. And people say, hey man, your clothes, you got $200 and $300 shirts, Dragon. Yeah, I do. Because you'll never see them in two or more places. I promise you. You'll never see two people with my clothes on. Because I respect my brand like you should respect yours. I'm not giving anything away. I mentor people about their clothing. Like, listen, you got shirts for $25 and $20. I wouldn't dare buy it. Because I go somewhere and 10 people got the same shirt on. I want to have something on that is exclusive to me for my character.
So my question is, because you just have so much knowledge in things, do you ever go to as far as even prisons to mentor and talk to people?
Absolutely. Not right now. I'm not right now, but I deal with a lot of, I want to focus on people that are doing great things. Not saying that I don't want to build people that haven't. Mm-hmm. Let's focus on people that are doing great things. We say, we do these things for kids that's been bad as hell. No, let's do something for people that are doing good things. What about them? They still need the same motivation. Just because you see me sitting here talking with you, I still need motivation. I'm moved by the opportunity to be on your platform. That helps me know that you care about me. Your whole production crew care about what I'm doing. That means a lot to me. So you can say, hey man, let me go to the streets and get everybody bad and I'm gonna interview them. But you ain't gonna interview the people that's making a big change for the world. You agree?
Yeah.
We got to be focused on people that are doing good things so they can continue to do them to motivate the ones that are not doing it. And let them, in retrospect, think about how they're going to move next.
Are you married?
Yes, sir.
And how important is it to have your wife by your side and doing all these things?
Indeed important. I mean, your wife should be your better half. You should be growing with your wife. She should be your better half, helping you grow and pushing each other. Just as much as I am divine, my wife is divine because she's with me. Your better half should become who you are and vice versa. Just as much as I'm building. So my word for every day is build something today. Build something. Because if you're not building, you're tearing down. Point blank. What are you building today?
Do you think you see a lot more less of the traditional marriages these days than how they were back then?
Indeed, you do, but remember, these are choices. So choices can be influenced by other people. Those same choices can be influenced by our society. Indeed, you follow me? Technology, Facebook and Instagram, they've destroyed some relationships. You agree?
Yes, sir.
So you can't say, oh, well, these people just getting a divorce all on their own. Too much information can cause a lot of trouble on any level. So, it's easy to point the finger and say, hey, people just getting divorces for nothing. Too much social media, too much activity. Everybody wants to be young that's older. And instead of, everyone has a lane. You follow me? I'm still a father at the end of the day. I'm not trying to be a little beat bopper. That's not my goal. But I can come get down with you, out rap your ass. I can do that. I can out rap you. I can out create you without being a youth.
So let's kind of get back on the traditional thing, right? Like you do have these days, like as far as now women, they have basically the same opportunity as men now to make money, than what it was back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. So, these days you have mostly women because they have, they basically have seen, they went through their struggles as well, coming up and so forth. So they tend to have more of an independent stance on how they see things. And now they're more opinionated and, be able to have more options and choices in the things that they want or the person that they want to be a partner with, right? Do you think now, as far as how things is, as far as like an independent woman, right? Do you think as far as like, the choices and things that she wants as what she sees in a man, do you think does she have more of those options now, do you think?
A woman can't be independent anyway. And there's no way, form or fashion, you can tell me that a woman's going to be independent. Met a woman at the barbershop. She said she was independent with 3 kids. So how'd you make the kids? Where'd you buy that car from? Who you work for? You got a job, but you independent. No, you depend on that job. Oh, my husband, but I'm independent even though I'm married. How's it possible? You're codependent. If he paying bills, how you independent? You codependent. Let's get this straight, man. We have to be real careful. It's a real rough area when you're talking about you independent. What happened is when a woman tell you she's independent, run. Run. She's already a problem for you. Because she don't understand how are you going to have a relationship with a woman that told you she independent, but she want to use your money to help her grow. She's codependent. Let's keep this real, brother. Like, hey man, I was born at night, but not last night. And there's impossible for anyone to say they're independent. All this equipment in your studio was made by somebody else. You didn't make it yourself. You depend on that company to be able to make products to make you successful, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you ain't independent.
100% true. Well, then let's just say, for example, right? Do you think like as far as, men these days, because now you got a lot of younger men, they're thinking more of the entrepreneurial route. They're thinking to be able to put themselves to be in a certain type of tier of men, right? the being a high value man, right? What do you think, like, as far as a high value man? What is your definition of a high value man?
Me? Not only am I independent, I mean, not only am I divine, but I am also, just think about this. I am also traditionally masculine. So the masculinity of a man makes him a man. Indeed, his divinity allows him to be able to create. Well, you can see it. It's manifested. It's right before you. So, again, let's talk about social media. Let's talk about politics, world politics, how they try to create the idea to make men and make them not be masculine. You follow me? This is a an idea that they're pushing hard. All these different rights. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
All these different rights, gay rights. I'm not against nobody. You do what you do. You know, I'm just saying LGBTQ, they got every alphabet in the numerical understanding. But the problem is when you take men and you try to turn them into something that they not, it just ain't making no sense. That's why we having all these troubles in our communities. Men want to be women, women want to be men. It's out of control. But this is all a design. It's a program, like the Matrix. It's a program. You can't repackage what I do and sell it to me. You agree?
Yes, sir.
So all the knowledge, think about it, chemistry. I'm doing chemistry. You say, hey, Dragon, what mathematical school did you go to do to make a chemical to strip them chips? Think about it. The history of us is from chemet. Chemistry started with a K. When they try to repackage it, they started with a C. Think about it, right? How can you repackage my history and sell it back to me at a higher rate? That's cold-blooded. Think about it. When you talk about a lot of men that say that they're great, Socrates and all these men that they say are great, all these men have been to Kemet. They were taught by the Egyptians. Black Egyptians taught them. You repackaged my history and sold it back to me bogus. That's just facts. I can show you. Some cultures got to show you. What have they done for this world?
So let's kind of get into that because, as far as you kind of lead it a little bit as education, do you think as far as how the education system is these days, let's kind of talk about that because, I'll be honest with you, you can go to school as many times as you want to, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll go ahead and give you financial aid or whatever, student loans and so forth, right? But let's say, for example, if you're trying to go get a business loan, you're starting your business, it tends to be a challenge for you to go walk into the bank to go get a business loan, right? But if you want to go to school, go to college, they'll give you all the loans in the world for you to go to college. Why do you think it's like that?
Education is for you to work for people. Entrepreneurship is to work for yourself. So if everybody decides to work for themselves, most of the big companies that you respect won't be big companies that you respect. You follow me? So there's a need to have workers. COVID was a test. It backfired, on those who know. It backfired. Because a lot of those people during COVID started their own businesses. Like, I ain't working for nobody. Gave them a chance to evaluate their choices. Think about it. Swift, look. 8, 8, and 8 is 24. Think about it. So you got 24 hours in a day. You sleep 8 hours. You work 8 hours. Let's say it take you an hour to get from work or 30 minutes. Bruh, you got 32 hours a week plus the weekend if you ain't working weekends. The only reason they give you overtime is for you not to become independent of your own business, of yourself. So all the ideas you've been working, 5, 10 years, say, hey, I'm sick of this. So I get where you're coming from, but let me show you something. I work for a company and man, it just, I couldn't believe it. I work for a company, and one day, the owner, he had a whole trailer, like, with cars on it, custom cars, pull up to the company. Not, unbeknownst to me, that them his cars. They opened up another bay in the warehouse. The man collect cars. He had over $50 to $100 million in cars. I quit the next day. I'm on what you on. How can you have all these cars? Because they had all us workers. So he can buy his custom car collection. Voila.
Yeah, not 100% true.
That's all he did. I'm being played. I never worked again. That was over 30 years ago. Never will I work for people again. Every company I had worked for, I instituted new ideas I never got credit for. The last job that I interviewed for, hear me out, is cold-blooded. So I meet with them in the office, seven guys in the office or more. It's okay, Greg. They put me in a little, what they call it, the little golf cart, took me off through the big warehouse. So he says, well, Greg, these machines over here, they're going to have to be rewired. This is what we hiring you to do, to come rewire these machines. I said, okay, why hasn't anybody started on them? Because it don't look like nothing's happening. He says, well, Greg, we're waiting on the blueprints to put them back together. I said, I can outthink them. You hear me? I'm divine. I said, well, sir, can we have our phones in here? He said, yeah. I said, well, since we can have our phones in here, why can't we just take a picture and make our own book? He put me back in that cart and took me to my car and skipped going back to the office where everybody was at because he didn't want them to know I gave him the game. Then he went and repackaged what I said and told them, oh, yeah, I can see him now. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. I was thinking about it last night. We can get our phones and take pictures of the wiring system and we'll make our own book. He was mad because I took his job. You get it? I took his job. He don't have a job with somebody like me. They look like me too. They came in there and gave him the game. And I gave him the game honestly. It was like, no point intended.
Yeah.
So if you just got it, you got it. You just divine, you divine. Like, hey man, why are we going through this? Take the pictures of the wiring. Let's make our own book. And let's rewire the whole machine, dude. Why are you even here?
What's your definition of a boss?
A man that knows himself. A man that knows himself, he knows he can't fail in anything he does. Because, number one, he won't do nothing that he know he's not a suit to do. He would never even approach it. So the wisdom comes with that whole idea. A man that knows himself, you can never stop him. You must know oneself. Once you know yourself, man, ain't no limit. I can do anything. Anything. I had a meeting with Epiphany Museum, downtown Garland today. And I talked to the owner, And I told her, I said, I am divine by all ways. And I went in there and with the whole same idea to advance her in the idea of what it takes to be divine. Not just to say it, but to know it. That means you're taking action. If you're not taking action, how are you divine? If you're not manifesting things. To be honest with you, man, I got so many products and toys and different things I developed. You'd probably be sick of me by now. I have a whole office that's a whole toy store. I develop and make toys. I'm an electrical mechanical engineer and ain't never been to school. I can fix and do anything. You know why? Because I know who I am. When a man knows who he is, nothing can touch him. I have zero fears. I fear nothing. Nothing. I'm not afraid of your dog, your cat, your boogeyman that you hide in your closet. I'm not afraid of anything. I jump out of an airplane if need be. Sometimes makes no sense jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. You know what I'm saying? I swim. I have no fears. Again, but my goal is when judgment comes, that my heart is lighter than an ostrich feather.
Man. You know, it's kind of crazy. And, you know, I just have a few more things to ask you, right? And this is dope. This is really dope. I can just kind of say it because just you teaching me game, just being on this podcast with you, you know, and people, and, you know, a lot of young people, they're going to be tapping into this and it's going to be a life changing to them, just seeing things like this as well. But, you know, I do want to ask you one more question. What would you tell and what type of advice would you give your younger self?
Not so much advice. Mm-hmm. You got to understand the time I was growing up as a younger person, I didn't have somebody like me that would nurture me. And I was nurtured, but people were pushing the people that were nurturing me away from me. Because everybody don't want you to be great. So I understand this. I've been making toys since I was a young boy. This is nothing new. My brothers and sisters will confirm to you that I've been running a business since I was a young kid. So that's nothing new. Maturity is where I fell short of maturity. I didn't understand maturity. I didn't understand forgivingness. And I didn't learn till later on how forgivingness worked because I was always thinking, I don't want them to get the best of the idea. But if my words to anybody who listening, who need to hear it, if you just forgive the people around you, and it takes time. You won't do it overnight. It just takes time. Depending on, your situation and how long that person been holding you at bay because they controlling you. But when you release them from holding you, you forgive them. Then you'll find your best self. Because it's some young people out there doing some good stuff, but they can't get all the way there. It's some older people. They can't just get there. They mad at Uncle Bob or Joe. Well, you mad at people, just forgive them. It's just the easiest process. It's easily said, hard to do, but once you do it, you'll digest it and you'll go to other people and explain to them how much gratification and edification that will come out of forgiving people.
So how do you deal with controversy? Because people can say like, man, look at this guy. He got his own chiz, man. It ain't really nothing, man. Like, well, he out here doing all this, man. Like, how do you be able to just, you know, you're going to get a lot of negative criticism in this stuff that you're doing because you're doing different trades. You're doing different things. How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, I wanted to do something nobody else was doing. So if you say, hey, hey, Dragon, that ain't nothing, them chips, well, who do you know that do them? That's what I say to people. Who you know that make chips? Who do you know that got their own animated game? I'll wait. I teach copyrights, business plans, presentation, press kits, non-disclosures, trademarking, branding, and private placement memorandums for the stock market. I'm a collaborative lawyer at the George Allen. Arbitration, mediation, negotiation, and litigation. I don't know everything, but I know enough to help people. So it'd be good to be on my good side so that I can help you. I'm solution-based. Whenever there's a problem, I can resolve it quickly. I'm an artist. I'm great with my hands. I can build anything. Just on levels where you just wouldn't even understand. I can build anything and I can do anything. And anybody, that's watching the podcast, they can take me through the course. If they got an idea, they can reach out to you, and I'm up for the challenge. There's not much I can't do creative-wise, from their brands, clothing, pants, shoes, you name it. I'm on board. I can do it. It's just because I understand what it takes to do it. Solution-based means you can resolve it. We're not going to have trouble. We're going to resolve the issues.
Man. Well, man, Chief Dragon, man, it was dope having you here on the platform, brother. And how can they find you on social media?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Dragons Golden Chips. You can find me on Facebook, Gregory David McAdory. I'm on the bag. You can see me on the back of the bag. DragonsGoldenChips.com, www.4DNCkids.com. That's 4DNCkids.com. And you can order the chips, and you can see other things that I offer on my website.
Okay, man. Well, man, Chief Dragon, it was dope having you, and we definitely got to do this again.
Indeed. Anytime.
And like I said, this was definitely something that people are going to tap into, and people are going to see this, and you're going to motivate people. So it was dope having you on this platform.
Thank you.
And it's your boy Chop It Up with Jae Swift.
Jae Swift.
And we is up out of here.